Welcome back to PR on Test Drive. I'm James, and this is the 2025 Lexus UX 300h. Now, I consider this vehicle right here to be an entry level for Lexus because it's actually pretty reasonably priced. Now, it is a subcompact crossover luxury SUV, so it doesn't have a big presence. As you can see by just the angle that my camera is set up on right now, it's a little tight in the rear, and you don't get that much trunk space. But we'll go over all of that in just a little bit. This actually happens to be the exact same vehicle that Nile was able to spend all of an hour, maybe 2 hours with a couple of months ago. Now I've gotten to spend an entire week, so I can tell you everything you need to know, and this can be kind of more of a full thoughts and full review on it. So let's take a look at this UX 300h together, and let's see, have Lexus given us something that's still affordable while still staying luxurious? Let me know what you think about that statement in the comments. You think, just from looking at it for the first couple of minutes of the video, you think Lexus has done enough here to offer something reasonably priced but also still look and feel luxurious? So let's take a look at what is under the hood. We have a 2-liter naturally aspirated inline 4-cylinder engine with the hybrid system, so we get 2 electric motors. Those are going to combine for 196 horsepower, 139 pound-feet of torque. We've also got an eCVT, and this one is all-wheel drive, so going to be pretty good to have in the winter. Now, Lexus do offer a couple of packages when you're configuring one of these UX 300h's. You could get the F Sport, which that is the only package I have. I have the F Sport 1, but you can get the luxury package as well, and there's also an F Sport package 2, and I believe a luxury package 2 as well. So there's quite a few things that you can add on, but the only add-ons I have, like I said, is the F Sport 1. So that comes with the F Sport front grille, which looks really nice with the daytime running LEDs, and this paint color looks really, really nice as well. We don't have a front-facing camera. We also don't get any parking sensors up front, but this is a small presence vehicle, so don't feel like you need that too much. But overall, the front end is really nice, and I think the F Sport package is the way to go because you also get 18-inch F Sport alloy wheels. The wheels look really good. Again, matched with this paint color, matched with this blacked out roof and the roof rails, and also even the chrome looks pretty good. It all matches with the wheels, and I do like it. It doesn't stand out that much, or if you don't want to stand out that much, you don't have to get the paint color that I have, and you can kind of be under the radar, but still, I think it's a very nice touch with the wheels. We also get LED fog lamps and LED quartering lamps, a Lexus feature that I really, really enjoy, and I'm glad to see it here on the F Sport package. Basically, for those that don't know, when you turn the wheel, the headlights will kind of follow you around corners, or if you're turning into a driveway that's dark, you can really see it. I've used this many times, and I really enjoy having it. So when I said affordable, the as-tested price is right around 48,000 Canadian, and honestly, nowadays, I feel like anything below 50 is relatively reasonably priced because you just don't see too many cars that are under 50 and have packages on them anymore. So I think Lexus has done a pretty good job price-wise, despite it being a little tight. What I mean by that is, look, the back looks very cool. I love the light bar. There's no exhaust. It doesn't really show it off. I wish something with the F Sport package would have given us like maybe a little bit of like a flashy exhaust. Honestly, even a fake one would have been nice, but there really isn't anything. But the light bar is very clean, looks very classic Lexus. I like it. The trunk is not automatic, but that's not a big deal, especially in the price point. But I find that there is a little bit of limited space. It's also a little weird how they've done the floor. The floor of the trunk is actually removable, so that's really good news. But it's weird that they didn't just take the floor out all the way because you got so much more room underneath that floor. I feel like if I was to own this thing, I would just take out that floor completely. But I don't know, this week I feel like using that trunk for groceries and just the daily stuff, absolutely no problem. But if I was to want to take this thing on a road trip, I have one child and you know, she's not even a year old yet, so I need to bring a lot of stuff, and I just don't know if it would fit everything. I didn't get an opportunity to take this on a road trip, so I can't tell you for sure, but I feel like that trunk space is a little limited for my current family setup, if that makes sense. So enough about the exterior. I really want to take you onto the interior and show you that. We're going to check out the back seat, then the front seat, and of course a test drive coming up. Let's get into that. All right, so now we're sitting in the back seat for the Lexus UX 300h, and you can see just how kind of compact it is. I've got the passenger seat moved forward a good amount because if I was to sit behind my driver profile, I would be way more uncomfortable. It is a very tight back seat. When I say compact, it is one of the more compact crossover SUVs that I've driven this year. I think the Kona N-Line had a little bit more room than this, I found, but where you may lack in space, you do not lack in quality. This seat feels like I'm sitting on a couch, and that's not even, like, I'm not playing that up at all. These seats are very, very comfortable. The material is very plush. I think Lexus have paid a lot of attention to that, and I think it's gonna help me just being comfortable. Maybe I don't have that much leg room, but I do feel very, very comfortable. I've got just enough headroom as well. I can see out the sunroof. I've got a little armrest here. Like, it's not completely unusable, uncomfortable. I don't want that to be, the point, but it is a little tight. But if you have small children like I do, you should be okay to use it. I think there is just enough room if the passenger moves their seat up a little bit. And then if I were to have somebody sitting behind me in the driver's side, I would probably also move my seat up just a little bit to make them comfortable as well. Now, I also do have 2 vents here. We don't have our own climate control, but honestly, you don't need it because I'm very close to the front seat, just sitting here like this. So the vents are a good touch, and I've also got 2 USB-C ports that I can charge back here, and I've got an LED light back here for myself in the back. And we've also got cup holder / armrest guy that's gonna fold down, no problem. Again, material on this, extremely comfortable material. So really good job. Maybe not on the space-wise. The space-wise, I don't know if this would work for my family configuration, but I am 5'11" for the record. So, and I do not have this seat all the way back. So just for reference for the people at home, this is what it's like. It's slightly tight. I have just enough room for my feet, and I'm kind of pushing my knees against the front or the back of the passenger seat. So it is a little tight for fully grown adults. Just keep that in mind when you're looking at this vehicle, but it is extremely comfortable if you can make it work. So let's hop up front where we do have a little bit more room and a couple more things to go over. All right, so next up, we're at the business end for the Lexus UX 300H. A very nice place to spend time. A lot more room up here. So like if you're like maybe, you've just got a partner or whatever it is, you could maybe use this vehicle full time because you don't always need that kind of SUV-like space and you just want something compact yet luxurious. You can probably do it because the front seats are absolutely no problem. So let's talk about what you got. First of all, we have a really nice steering wheel, the standard Lexus, nice logo in front, very clean, all physical buttons here, which is really nice. I like my physical buttons, and I'm sure I'm definitely not the only one that does. So it's all physical buttons for your cruise control and also your media control as well. I have all 4 doors that are automatic up and down windows. That is something that is very luxurious and something you don't see on some luxury vehicles. So very nice to have that as well. It's a little bit plasticky here on the doors, but you still have this nice feeling leather, just like in the back seat for the armrest. So really hard to complain about it there. I've got nice and big side view mirrors as well. So visibility in here is going to be really easy. There really isn't any blind spots either here. So I give it a good score for visibility as well. I also have a digital gauge cluster with a little bit of information, which I like. I can have a screen where it's going to tell me what the battery is doing and what the engines are doing and who's powering what, and I like that as well. You can also see your overall efficiency, different things like that, which I'll take you through once we actually drive. It's very easy to understand, very easy to use. Reminds me a lot of the ones that we see on Toyota, but I really enjoy this. And the gauge will slightly change themes when you shift through your drive modes. Now next, I want to talk about the front seat feel. This is one of the best seats. Lexus is like one of the best in the game with seats. For those that don't know, I actually spent a lot of time with a Lexus NX of 2020. Somebody in my family owned it, and I ended up driving that vehicle quite regularly at some point. And I remember the seats being standout of every single car that I had driven, and it's very true. Lexus is very good at it, and it shows here in the 2025 version of the UX. Really comfortable. Again, the material here is A grade. It is heated and ventilated, right? Remember when I said I only had one package? That leads me to believe that this comes standard, heated and ventilated seating. Very good, and it's just aided everything, right? Like the ride quality might be good on its own, but the seats really help it. So take a seat in a Lexus seat and you'll know what I'm talking about. These things are premium quality, and I'm really glad to have them here. Now I've also got a little knob here to change my drive modes. Very nice. It's very easy to reach. Same thing with the traction control button. It's very easy to reach. Now I have a little bit of a small infotainment display, but it's got the standard kind of Toyota, the new age Toyota operating system on it, so very easy to understand and use there. No problems at all. It's got your wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. You also got some built-in navigation should you want it. And it's just easy to understand, right? There's not a lot of settings to go over. It's a tiny screen in terms of what is available today. You can upgrade the screen if you get the luxury package, but of course that's going to run you maybe into the 50 grand kind of area of price points, and maybe you don't want to do that. And if you don't, you can live with this infotainment display screen no problem. I would just have liked to see it standard, because when you look at the pictures on Lexus website and stuff like that, you see the big screen. So, you know, I just wish they were more transparent with that, number one. And I just wish it was standard, number two. That would be a huge plus for it if it was. Then we have this nice start-stop button that just is a power button. Nice touch, because now we have the electricity on board, so I like that. We've got dual-zone automatic climate control here as well. I've got 2 USB-C ports, but you don't have the ability to use USB for CarPlay or Android Auto, so it's really going to be for charging. There is no wireless charger here in the model that I have. Again, you're going to have to upgrade to a luxury package to get that. Do I miss it? Not really. I'm used to plugging my phone in anyways, but again, something that would be nice to just be standard, but I get why it's not standard, because they gotta charge a little bit to something for this thing. So we also got 2 cup holders and a very interesting shift knob. I like it. It kind of shows you how it works, and you kind of got to go to the left and then up for reverse, down for drive, and then one more down for B mode, which is essentially a regenerative braking mode, which I do use, but I'll tell you more about that when we drive. I've got all my heated and ventilated seating buttons right here, my AV mode button, which you're used to seeing if you've ever driven a hybrid Toyota. It looks pretty much the same. Then we've got a little bit of center storage console here with a normal USB plug, so it's got diverse USB plugs. We like that as well. Again, very comfortable material here for the armrest. Very comfortable or nice looking material for the dash on the passenger side. Splits it up. I can't really call it a boring interior because it's got a lot of the same color, but a lot of different materials, and your eyes do notice that. So that is a plus, and it does still feel luxurious like that. Last but not least, I got a sunroof as well. So again, that's a luxurious feature that I could count here for the UX, and I do like it. But overall, it's comfortable, it's easy to use. I've got heated ventilated seats, heated steering. I've got all the things that I could want, but now let's see how it drives. All right, on the road now for the Lexus UX 300h. It's been a pretty easy to use week. It's been a very comfortable week. This car is not hard to just get in and drive and figure out. Like it's very, very simple. It's also pretty decent on gas as well. Like I've done well over 500 kilometers at this point, and we've got 6.1 liters per 100 kilometers, and it's been a little bit more highway than I usually do, but quite a bit of city. And I do think that, like Nile said in his video, this vehicle is really going to be meant to be driving in like heavy traffic, a lot of city commutes, and then you'll really see the battery make a huge benefit on your fuel economy. But still, 6.1 is pretty decent, and I've been testing kind of the speed and stuff, so I have been pretty much on it a lot. But I have been in eco mode a lot more, because eco mode is actually quite comfortable. Normal mode's comfortable too, but I just feel like the power delivery is very smooth in eco mode. Like, you know, I'm not trying to be fast in this at all. This isn't necessarily supposed to be like a very sporty SUV, although we do have the F Sport package. It adds no driving dynamics. It doesn't improve my driving or my performance or anything. It's really just exterior stuff. But speaking of performance, we do have a decent amount of pickup here, so let's give it a little bit of beams here. Let's give it some gas and some electric power. So nothing that's gonna, oh my goodness, that was crazy. Really nothing that's really even going to surprise you or scare you. It's very easy, very smooth power delivery, like I said. It just gets up to highway speeds, no problem overtaking slower traffic with this. You know, the steering stiffens up a little bit, so the input's pretty dialed in, but usually I'm going to either, you know, switch back to normal mode or the full eco mode and just kind of, you know, just cruise around. Now I've been driving a lot in the B mode, so you just click the shifter down once to get into it. Once you're in it, basically if you let your foot off the gas a little bit, the car kind of slows down a little quicker. It kind of coasts, but it'll just kind of slowly start slowing itself down. While it's doing that, it's putting a little bit of power back into your battery pack, which I think is pretty good. I usually drive in it because I want to just see how efficient I could make this thing. And also I like regenerative braking. I like, you know, when I lift off my gas a little bit before a light or something, it'll kind of start to slow down. And that could probably help you save a little bit on brake wear as well. I do have some nice cruise control stuff like that as well. It's got the lane centering where it'll kind of turn when the road turns. It's also got adaptive, you know, the space. It'll keep the space between you and the car in front of you. So that's very easy to use and understand, but I like that we have it here at what looks like no extra cost from the base model. So it's very good. Ride quality is also really good as well. Like, I'm on Quebec roads. They're not good. It only gets worse as the season goes on here as well. So really, I think it's aided a lot by the seats, but just in general, the damping in here is really good. Really, it doesn't change in sport mode or eco mode or anything like that. It's not really changing my ride quality, but it just starts at good and stays like that, which is really important. But it's really helped by the seats as well, because these seats are so comfortable that you know, I could hit a hard bump and I'd still be very cushioned by these nice, really, really good material seats. Now, I think in terms of front seat, I would definitely be pretty comfortable doing a long road trip in here because, look, I don't really have that much spatial needs for just one person or maybe even two person. But when you add, like I said at the beginning of the video, when you add like maybe a baby or like a new baby where you need a lot of stuff, you know, especially if you're staying somewhere overnight, that's when the space in the UX kind of gets a little bit hard to use and something that I probably wouldn't be able to go for. I think I'd have to maybe swing for something a little bit bigger. But if you can make it work, like if you have small children that maybe don't need that much stuff when you're traveling, you could definitely make this thing work. It's got kind of that removable floor, like I said, so you can just pull that out and maybe have a little bit more space, you know, up and down wise. But I just think for me, it's a little bit tight. I don't think that I could really justify. It was kind of the same situation with something like the Alfa Romeo Tonale. It was a little tight there as well. I feel like the one that had the most space, and this car was kind of pushing it in its subcompact class, was the Kona N-Line that many of us have driven by this point. I think that one was the one to go with, but still, this Lexus has a lot of luxury features. And I do think, back to the point at the beginning of the video, I do think that Lexus has kind of given us something relatively competitively priced in this market, but still made it luxurious. I think we have more than enough power. I think the efficiency is a great upside as well. I like the regenerative braking. Like I said, it's gonna save you probably a little bit on the brakes because it does kind of slow down a little bit for you before you have to use the brakes. The seats are really, really comfortable. The materials in here are all high quality. There's nothing material-wise that feels cheap. The screen is a little small for my liking. I would have liked to see the big one to be standard, maybe a wireless charger to be standard, but I don't feel like I need the parking sensors or the 360-degree camera to be fully happy in this thing. I think they still nailed kind of a luxury feel for a relatively low luxury price here. And I think people that want to spend the money that, you know, can make the space work and don't need a ton of space, I think you'll be relatively pleased by the package that you get. I do recommend adding the F Sport 1 package on. I think it's only about like $1,000 add-on Canadian. And I do think it kind of spruces up the exterior a little bit, makes it a little bit different from the base model, and get it in this paint color if you want to stand out. If you don't, you can get it in like something normal like a black or a white. It still would look very good. I still think that, you know, the Lexus is very much the, you know, luxurious brand of Toyota. So I think Lexus are still pretty reliable. Like I said, I spent a considerable amount of time in the NX of 2020, and we never had a check engine light. We never had any issues with that vehicle, just owning it for, I think we owned it for like a year or two on and off, and I drove it on and off throughout that period. I never had an issue in the winter. It was all-wheel drive as well. Never had any issues with that vehicle. It was reliable as anything, and it was extremely luxurious as well. And I think the same can kind of be said for the UX if you can get over that spatial thing. If you can get over not having a lot of trunk space and not having a lot of rear leg space, you will be very happy with your purchase here. But as always, let me know what you think. We reply to every single comment. Either me or Nile or any one of us could be in the comments and talking to you about it. So let me know what you think. Do you think Lexus has done enough? Do you think around the $48,000 mark Canadian is enough for you to spend your money on this? Or would you take it and go and buy something like a fully loaded Corolla? I really want to hear from you. I love having conversation with you guys about cars because we all are enthusiasts at one point or another, especially when you're shopping for it. So let me know if this has helped you at all. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, and I will see you in the next week. See you in the next car. Take care.